Good evening, Jim Steska here with Jim's Fitness Tips. Thanks for joining me. What I'd like to talk about this evening is your blood pressure is too high. That's what someone said to me a couple days ago when I went to my son's Boy Scout troop annual physical. Okay, all adult leaders, which I'm going to be one, what they call a merit badge counselor, and all the boys who want to participate in the activities of Boy Scouts need to get a physical. Okay, so I went that night to get my physical. Now I go every year as well to get an annual physical by my physician. Okay, and because of the exercise program and nutrition program that I'm doing, my health always checks out good. My cholesterol levels are good. Blood pressure is good. Without medication, all without medication. Okay, so she took my blood pressure, and it was actually 140/90. Okay, actually two people were there with two different types of machines, and they were both about 140/90. So that raised some concern. Okay, I can't lie to you there. I was definitely concerned, surprised, but concerned, because I thought for sure I had my blood pressure situation totally under control. Okay, so what did I do? The last few days I actually been taking my blood pressure 2 or 3 times a day, one in the morning, one midday, and one in the evening, with a little device I have here. Okay, that comes in a little case. It goes around your wrist. Okay, it's called an Omron. Let me show that to you. Okay, and I'm actually going to take my blood pressure right now, right in front of you. Okay, I haven't taken it this evening yet. Okay, I've taken several measurements over the last few days, so I'll show you those measurements shortly. Okay, and I'm going to take my blood pressure, so bear with me right this moment. Okay, you can do it on either wrist. I'm doing it on the left wrist to be consistent. You're not really supposed to talk while you're doing this, so I want to stay as quiet as I can. Okay, there we go. It is a little high. The bottom number is the most important. 133/72. That's actually the highest been reading the last few days. 72 is a good number on the bottom. Anything below 80 is a real good number there. So that wouldn't be considered high blood pressure. That would be considered actually fairly normal. Okay, and the pulse rate of 73 is very normal as well. Okay, maybe it's because I am drinking this cup of coffee here, and I took a few sips right before I started the video, so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, but so that's my blood pressure right now. Now I want to show you this. This is a blood pressure, and I don't know if you can see this. Okay, yeah, it's going to be hard for you to see, so I'll just read it. But I'm charting my blood pressure on this I found online. Okay, just to give you some readings, the day after, okay, it was 104/57 in the morning. In the evening, 100/53. Okay, the next day in the morning, 117/62. These are all very good. And in the evening, 102/56. And I actually have them stored in the device. It has a memory part of it. The next day, which was yesterday, 110/68 and 116/67 in the evening. And this morning it was 116/61. All perfect blood pressure readings actually. And I'll put in there the reading that I just took, which again was 133/72. So I'm going to do that for as long as I feel I need to in order to be convinced that my blood pressure is indeed under control. Actually, another thing that I'm going to do that I haven't gotten a chance to do is every Giant store that has a pharmacy anyway. Every giant supermarket that has a pharmacy has a little blood pressure station. So I'm going to go to one of those. And I believe CVS too. CVS Pharmacy typically has a blood pressure station. So I'm going to look for one of those two stores and just check it out. Make sure that my device is comparable. I'm going to take my device with me and back to back do a blood pressure reading on one of those machines and do a blood pressure reading on this machine, just to make sure that I'm convinced that this machine is correct. Okay. So something seemed to be out of whack perhaps with their device, or maybe the fact that I needed my checkbook that evening, and maybe I forgot it, and I was a little bit upset with myself that I had forgotten my checkbook to pay for a trip that we're going on here to Cape May in the next couple weeks. So I was a little bit upset with myself. So maybe that has something to do with it too, because added stress does raise your blood pressure. Okay. But anyway, everyone should be concerned about their blood pressure. Okay, it is, and you've probably heard this term. It is called the silent killer for a reason. Okay, there are no symptoms. You don't feel any differently. You really can't tell when you have high blood pressure and how it can affect your health. Okay, and the problem with high blood pressure, what it does is it weakens the walls of your arteries. Because what happens is when you have constant high blood pressure, in order to get your heart pumping the way it should, either at rest or while in motion, okay, there's some constriction in there somewhere. A plaque buildup probably in your arteries that's causing some constriction of the blood flow. Therefore, in order for it to flow how it needs to, in order to keep you alive, it requires more pressure to do so, and that pressure is forced against the walls of your arteries, therefore weakening your arteries over time. And if you have consistent high blood pressure, your arteries continue to weaken just a little bit over time, a little bit more over time, a little bit more, before something definitely gives way. So you should be very concerned about keeping normal blood pressure. Okay, it's something that actually caused me to get into health and physical fitness, because I was at one time 5 or 6 years ago diagnosed with high blood pressure. Didn't want to have to rely on prescription medication to keep it under control. Okay, and I've been able to, through diet and exercise, keep it under control. Okay, this isn't the only time that I have decided to keep measuring it consistently. There was a time 2 years ago, even as early as 2 years ago, that I was measuring it just about every day, a couple times a day, at my doctor's request as well, just to make sure that he was convinced that I had it under control. Okay, so if you haven't had it checked in a while, definitely get it checked, and I recommend anybody, perhaps even over 40, especially over 50 or over, you should have your own blood pressure monitor and monitor your blood pressure on a regular basis to make sure that it is in check. Okay, and I'm convinced that there are ways naturally, without prescription medication, through proper diet and exercise, that you can get your blood pressure under control. Okay, now I did put with this video underneath a link. Okay, so if you go to my website, there will be a link to a nice article, okay, that I feel is a lot of good information. Like it's about a 2-page article, good information about blood pressure and how to, what are some natural types of ways to consider to keep it under control. One big thing is sodium intake. I pay a lot of attention to sodium in my foods, read the labels. If it has too much sodium, I stay away from it. Okay. About 2,300 milligrams per day is about where you should be. It's very hard to do that, though. It's very hard to stay under 2,300 milligrams of sodium. Okay, even with eating, watching your sodium intake and eating things as natural foods as possible, and that sort of thing. And that's without putting any salt on your food or adding any salt on your food whatsoever. So. But that's about what the professionals and experts say you need to be, 2,300 milligrams or below, to stay at the healthiest as possible as far as sodium intake. But your body does need sodium, so you can't avoid it completely for sure. Okay. So that's what I want to talk about this evening. It was a bit of an eye-opener for me this week. And I've kept my eye off the ball as far as my blood pressure. I thought it was absolutely fine. So I'm going to keep a close eye on it here for the next month or two, just to ensure that it is okay. Okay, and everything looks fine so far. But I still have to really check my this wrist machine out. I got to check it against other devices to make sure this is working properly and calibrated properly and everything like that. It seems to be working fine. It's worked the same way it always has, but I just want to make sure. So have a good evening. May God bless you with excellent health, and I welcome any comments, anything that I could help you with. I also have a link to my complimentary Healthy Living consultation. Please take advantage of that, where it's a presentation where I guide you step by step on what you can do to get in the best shape of your life and maintain it for a lifetime. So again, may God bless you with excellent health, and have a nice evening.